game session tonight. Broder's already volunteered to do the recap.
You mean was conscripted?
Voluntold.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
All right. Chad is not here.
Boo!
He is in Tennessee or something like that. So
Sorry, guys.
So Chad will be replaced by a Muppet voice when he's needed, but for the most part, we're just going to say that he is back at the Jiffy Lube having a vomit and diarrhea session as his body works out all of the minerals that were built up into fibers around him.
No!
So I just want that to be a form of art, right? Where he's lying on his side naked, just shitting diuretic spew and vomiting everywhere in this weird sort of Jackson Pollock thing, but it's on the floor of the Jiffy Lube, so it's stained with years and years of dripped oil and gasoline. The concrete is his canvas.
And it works. It kind of comes out strangely like an angel wing on each side. Like this is his innocence lost.
Yeah. But there's one dark wing and one light wing, and it's like the duality of the good angel and the demon on his shoulder. Yeah.
It's like yin yang.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
The weird part is which has more corn?
Broder. Yeah.
All right. So last week, Chad did the recap. So we start the game. We have a lead. On.
I hope this whole thing isn't the recap.
No, it's not. It's
Not all of it, only half of it.
Yeah. So we have a lead on the Ist Army. We're about 48, not 428, 48 hours ahead of them. We're on horseback. They have a much larger group, and they're still mustering their move on Cape when we leave. So we've got a pretty good head start as we're blurring our way back to Cape. Lee and Philip chat. Lee gives Philip the journal from for Philip's daughter. He also he gave Philip all of his undelivered letters. Lee hopes to change things back in St. Louis. Then he goes back to being Void. Is the real Lee gone for good? And Void and Casey head back to St. Louis. We debate what the town should do. Molly is leaving for Jacksonville, and she codes hearts to Marlene. So she's got her passport, her passport and her visa stamped, ready to go and become a resident of Jacksonville. Spider, Dr. Poe, and Emma discuss a plan for the Vine and additional people, and Ka, the GC Snake, to leave as soon as possible. Poe and Alejandro, I don't think I spelled that right, work out the actual details. Spider talks to Pops, explaining that Lee and Motomar aren't coming. There's a smear of dried blood. An actual drop. Pops enlightens Spider, as I put it in my notes. He also fills him in on Blackbird, who's in the Bankhead National Forest in northern Alabama. Blackbird also watches the Southern Army rail line, and she may be interested in talking to Spider. She would likely assume that he is an active zoo member. Poe goes to speak with the Yorks about Jack's daughter Mary and escaping on the Vine. Uncle Bill and Aunt Debbie are their names. Old Big Buckle's coming. The Appalachian incest porn. Marlene, what do you say? Wait, what? What do you? Somebody said.
Pops talking about.
Old Big Buckles are coming. So I was like, if there is Appalachian incest porn, that is it. They're out at the moonshine still. Girl, come here, and sit on Big Buckles' lap. I got a story I'm gonna tell you about the mash.
No, Mom, we ain't doing that.
Marlene makes Gil fucking decide because Gil's is irritating as Lee. We hunt for the smuggled gun cargo, and we learn that Kane very likely has it. There's a picture of a hand that has 5 dick fingers, a vagina palm, and an asshole in the wrist.
Yeah, I remember that.
Pops.
It's the worst alien ever.
What are you talking about? It's a normal face hugger.
There was no such. Oh, you drew that. There was no such plot point in the game.
Well, damn, don't say there's no.
Could you imagine instead of jazz hands, it's jizz hands? And they're just glazing everything.
Your game inspired that drawing.
Just put glazing on the board.
Pops
Don't get
and
more specific.
Pops and Philip go to
Jizz
the
hands.
general store and find shipping manifests with records that were signed by Mr. Gabriel Hudson. And there are boxes staged at the West Park Mall. Poe and Gil find Sheriff Norton and inquire about the smuggled guns. Spider and Marlene talk to Mr. Kane and get a sketch, and have him sketch a map to the St. Francis Medical Center. Boy, if there was ever a series of colossal fuck-ups, it was us having that conversation with Kane.
If he had sent Philip, Wayne, I can't believe you went along with this. Because to see if he sent Philip, the amount of plot you would have learned.
The party converges, and we head to the hospital to look for guns.
So,
Guns.
Let's have a party.
Tonight!
so when I run this game, I work off of real maps, though I change things as necessary for the plot, using the excuse that 150 years has passed. But as of today, the St. Francis Medical Center to the west is a place called My Daddy's Cheesecake.
What? No, come on.
Dude, I'm
Too
joking.
easy.
Right there.
The Friends
No, it's My
Cafe
Daddy
by
likes
My
cheesecake.
Daddy's Cheesecake. He's not lying.
And directly to the north is Karen L. Barnes, MD, FAP. I don't know what that means, but Dr. Barnes,
She's the doctor.
you're doing God's work. Or the devil's, I don't know which, but
Why not both?
yeah. So, all right. So, yeah, you were told
She's got
that
two hands.
there.
No.
So, once upon a time, there was a trader's market in the shopping center. And the supplies that Pops was smuggling on behalf of Ratman were getting picked up and signed for by a guy by the name of Gabriel Hudson. And they were being moved to that center, staged there, and then ultimately smuggled out piece by piece. And the general town populace does not know where they were smuggled to. You guys went to Kane, and Kane, who was profoundly confused by the entire exchange, ultimately told you that the supplies were moved. Now, he is not part of this, but he simply, having known what goes on around here, told you that they were being moved to the lower level, by which I mean like the basement, of the St. Francis Medical Center. All right, now this is something that is more than a set of doctor's offices, but not a full-blown hospital. So think that you have something like a relatively self-sufficient clinic or an urgent care. I am expanding it over what it is actually built as today. As today, it is mostly a suite of doctor's offices and such. I'm expanding it a bit to put in a little bit more self-sufficiency in terms of diagnostic equipment and things like that. Now, it is not a functional hospital or medical center of any kind. This place has been long since stripped clean of just about anything usable. Now, you guys having higher tech skill sets might be able to salvage things that other people would ignore, but it has largely been stripped clean, and it is not currently in use for anything. A lot of the Cape population, as we discussed in the prior episode, has condensed towards the central part and eastern part of town. All right, this is actually on the western part of town toward an area called Mount Tabor, which, Philip, you would know. Kane is actually in an ongoing property dispute regarding Mount Tabor, though obviously the approaching Ist army has made such a relatively minor political and financial matter effectively irrelevant. So one thing is unrelated to the other, but that is the area it happens to be in. So just to take care of the missing player, Gil is off vomiting and whatever Jackson Pollock thing Broder's no longer allowed to say. And your group consists of a lot of you. The two NPCs that are with you was Bessar Caller, Emma, and Hearts. I believe Fat Tony is back with the truck.
Wait, who in Hearts?
Or I'm sorry, not Molly. Emma and Hearts.
Yeah.
Emma and Hearts are with you. Okay, so you guys right now are outside of the St. Francis Medical Center. It's a multi-story building. Think like a lot of office buildings. It's got a very heavily glassed over front. Some of those panes are still intact. Some of them have been boarded up. Some of them are just shattered and opened. The doors to this place have long since been pulled off and tossed aside. And outside of some shattered glass, some dead leaves, and some garbage that have piled up in the parking lot just by virtue of the wind having blown them here, and some old abandoned cars that are long since rusted out and stripped to parts. You guys are standing otherwise at the outside of this. There is an overhang that leads into the first floor, and there's a drive up there for patient drop-off that would keep people out of the rain and elements. That is still standing. It's not weathered all that well. There are parts of it that are eaten through or partially fallen, but the structure is generally standing. And I know you guys were told, were you guys told specifically where in the building the weapons were? Because I thought you were.
I don't think we were.
Yeah, lower level.
That's all they had said.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they'd actually a little more specifically, but if not, that's
I
fine.
don't
And
recall.
I'm pretty sure it was more of it's possible they are in the
Yeah, no, exactly. It was pretty vague.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are outside of this area right now. Gil has had to excuse himself and probably made up some lie to avoid looking weak. And
But I know because I'm the one administering his drugs.
oh yes, and you know that there's going to be stages of passing all of these substances, and it's not all that easy to, at least at some degree, even as minimal as it may be, rewrite somebody's biology and not have some problems along the way. In fact,
To be fair, he's getting off pretty easy, to be honest.
he's getting off very easy, and I'm as a game master, I'm downplaying it because there is nothing less fun in an RPG than playing games and games and games straight of convalescing.
Yeah.
So we're just hand waving his convalescence.
I mean, I think the idea is Gil looks pretty sickly most of the time now, I'd say.
Yeah, I would assume so, but once again, him on the ground, running a fever and unable to move and having to force down fluids is
Doesn't help the story.
it's not a whole lot of fun to play. So yeah, we're not going to do that, but for this game we will. All right, so you guys are outside of this medical center. Once again, there are sliding doors that led into a lobby. Heavy glass, big old sliding doors that would have allowed multiple patients in and out, even if they had been in wheelchairs or otherwise transported. And that leads into a lobby. Beyond the lobby was an information desk. Then there's a building directory, stairs, and an elevator. And both the external and internal lobby doors, they have one of those heating and cooling insulation rooms meant to, make the AC and heater work a little less. But both sides of that the doors have either been broken or removed.
All right, who's sneaky?
Both of us. I don't know if you're sneaky.
No.
We're both sneaky.
And is Hearts which of his firmwares is it currently loaded with?
So at the end of the last game, we took out his mechanic firmware and put in his combat firmware because he looked at Spider and said, "Hey, why don't you give me that machete? Because I think that I will be more effective with it."
Okay. So he has the machete, and he's currently running the combat firmware. Didn't somebody give him a gun too?
I thought we did, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Didn't you give him a gun? I thought you gave him one of the guns you had.
You or it might have been Chad. gave him a
So
pistol.
I currently do not have a firearm on my person.
Because I
Did you have
thought
like a dew rifle?
because I thought Chad.
Oh no, I gave that to Dr. Martin. I gave that to Peyton's grandpa.
Because I thought Gil gave Hearts the pistol, and when asked why not the shotgun, he said, "Because yeah, that's the more powerful weapon." So, all right. So, okay. So continue.
Hell, I can handle a fucking dew rifle.
So, Hearts is programmed to be
a fighter now, right?
Yeah.
So heart. Do you see anything? Philip doesn't know that he has like, infrared vision or things.
I see a great many things. Perhaps you should be more specific.
Do you see any? Do you see any? I don't know. What do they call them? Booby traps?
No.
Any people?
No.
I'm gonna sneak in.
Any robots?
While you're talking to Hearts, I'm sneaking past.
Okay, give me a, whatever your...
Or is it?
Wow, okay, you get a bonus die. So 12 plus...
8.
No, plus another die.
Oh.
It stops there. So 18 plus 8.
What? What the fuck?
So, okay.
I just rolled 3 6s in a row.
All right.
Invisible in front of us.
Yeah, he got a 20. You just rolled a 26. Okay. So, or 20, I'm sorry. You said 8, right? So,
Yeah.
18 plus. No, that's 26.
26,
Yeah, I
yeah.
did that right. Okay, I think I did that wrong.
I'll never roll that well again.
So, all right, you rolled a 26. All right, I'm going to simply ask you, what do you want to have happened there? Because whatever had happened, you were weirdly good at it.
While they're talking, because I assume we're like almost in a circle, maybe everybody like looks in a direction or is like trying to look around, look back, and I'm just gone. I'm just not there.
You just Batman.
I just Batman. I'm out of there.
Yeah.
Everybody's Commissioner Gordon with fucking pie in their face.
So, all right, Bruce, you go inside of the medical center. It is currently, I think it was about midday. So there's a good amount of light coming in through the broken windows, which is good because there does not appear to currently be any power to the building. You don't know if power would even work in this building, but there certainly isn't any right now. The room you're in right now is fairly open and airy. There's an information desk there, beyond which is a sitting area, beyond which is some of the doctor's offices and radiology labs and such that are on the first floor. Immediately on your left, the closest thing is a building directory. Past that is a staircase. Past that is a pair of elevators.
Now, is this staircase like stairwell? Or is it...
In stairwell, like in this type that you would see in something like a hospital or a school or
Like, is
something.
it in the open, or is it one that's actually the stairwell that would go up and down as opposed to...
Oh, no, it goes up and down.
Okay.
So it definitely goes up and down. Now, you don't know if going down, you might have like a locked door or something, but it's not like the elevator's going to turn on for you, so...
He's just going ham on Wayne's arm.
Yeah, I know.
He's just like, yeah. He just likes redheads. It's cool.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I was going to say that's just the natural order.
All right, so once you get inside, where are you going from there?
Without being in the open, can I look at the directory?
Sure.
Okay, I want to do that. I want to look at the directory and kind of get an idea of what the layout is.
Okay. The directory is covered in plexiglass that is incredibly dirty, so you have to wipe that clean. Behind which there's a list of doctors' names, labs, agencies that were located within this building, the suite numbers that they were in. What you notice, though, in looking at it, is the only things that are described are from the first floor up. You don't see anything described in terms of what would be down. Okay. So you're guessing that this is meant for public consumption, because the stairwell you're looking at least for the first half level, the stairs go down. Now, you don't know what happens after you turn on the stairwell and then continue down from there, but at least for the first half, you can just walk straight down.
Okay. I feel like, man, walking down the stairwell is a bad idea. So I'm just stuck in there. Something happens. Nice try, Dan. Is there like an elevator nearby or anything like that?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they don't work, but maybe are they like cracked open or anything like that, or are they just closed?
Are they cracked open? Yeah, actually they are. The doors have been forced. You don't know what the story is behind that. Maybe there was people stuck on there when the nukes went off, and they pried their way out. But whatever the case, and which story is the elevator on? So we're going to go with... Okay. And the elevator is on this floor.
Okay.
Well, actually, because I said there's two of them. Where's the other one? Okay. The first elevator is on this floor. The doors to the second elevator have been pried open. The second elevator is not there.
Okay.
If you look in the shaft, you would need a light source. You have a light source,
Yeah, I have a
flashlight,
flashlight.
candle. Okay. If you look inside of the elevator shaft, the other elevator is up a floor.
Okay. I want to look down. I want to see if there's an easy way to get down, or if there's a ladder or something.
So going down, once upon a time there was a maintenance ladder in questionable shape. There are the tracks that the elevator would have run on, which you could theoretically climb. It's going to be a somewhat athletic act. The primary cable system, you're not sure you trust. All of these look risky just for slightly different reasons.
Yeah, they're super old.
But none of them are pure suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like there's one rung on the ladder and beneath that is a bunch of spikes. I mean, it's not like that. But these are industrial floors, so it's going to be taller than a household floor. So instead of 8 feet, you're probably looking at even the internal area, is going to be 8 to 10 feet. And once you throw in the room between the floors, probably from here to the base of the elevator shaft is going to be about 12, 14 feet down. Now, that said, I don't know how confident your character is athletically or what your skills are there. It is climbable. It's risky, but it is climbable.
Okay. I don't have a rope. I'm gonna come back out.
Okay.
And tell everybody what I saw while they're probably still talking to Hearts.
Okay, so you guys are standing around. All right, we'll go there, and then I'll introduce him after a moment or two.
I do have a quick correction. I was incorrect. I do have a firearm on my character sheet. It's Levin's automatic pistol.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have Levin's auto pistol. So I'd like to give that to Hearts.
Okay, so Hearts has an auto pistol
Levin's
now,
love rocket.
which is not as good as the high-tech auto pistol that Bratman had, which ended up with
Right.
the militia. Temper took it. His gun I kind of based off of the I Come in Peace gun. You guys, crappy old sci-fi movie.
yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever seen that,
Like
but
go in pieces.
yeah, I kind of based it off the pistol the alien was using in there.
And they shoot like discs.
Well, no, I thought it shot bullets, but they explode. His don't explode, but it's
It was definitely discs in the movie.
it's an unusually high power auto pistol. It's almost more like a carbine sort of weapon, but in the frame of an auto pistol. But anywho, okay, so you guys are outside talking to. Well, you were talking to Hearts, and okay, he has just told you no, he does not detect traps, people, or robots.
Hearts, do you have like a flashlight or a floodlight of some sort?
Yes, I do.
Wonderful.
I can light up areas both in front of and behind myself, though not as well to the sides. It was installed for maintenance purposes.
All right, sorry. Dr. Poe.
Yeah, while you guys were digging around, I already took a look at everything. Didn't want to go too far because I'm not going in there by myself.
Nobody in the first floor?
No, not that I could tell. There's a elevator shaft we might be able to go down on. might be able to go down in.
Did you look down? Did you look down the elevator shaft to see how many floors below the main floor there are?
There's just one, right?
Yeah, it's just one.
Yeah, just
And you
the
said there
one.
were stairs?
There were stairs. I didn't know if that was safe though.
Kick ass.
Yeah, but the stairwell was open. So
All right, so here's what we do. Hearts, if I use any of this military lingo incorrectly, you tell me. But why don't we put Hearts on point, and he'll go in front of us with his lights on the front, not the light on the back, just the light going forward, and then we just follow him down the stairwell.
we can. I mean, we should probably check it for traps first. I didn't want to go down there.
Hearts didn't detect anything, but we can go slow and have him take a closer look. Or we do the super kick-ass thing, and Hearts literally jumps down the elevator shaft, boom, into the basement, and pries the doors open and kicks everybody's ass, and then we wait here.
Which would you prefer?
There might not be anyone in there, you know.
I would prefer, let's go with you. Why don't you go in front of us, have your forward-facing lights on, we'll be able to see by your light, and we'll just walk behind you.
Hearts, how far can you scan ahead of yourself? I mean, if we're talking about concrete walls and things like that.
Depends on their thickness. Within this building, particularly in the lower levels, my line of sight through walls will be limited. If you are asking about my distance of scanning, no length of this building will be greater than my ability to scan.
Okay. All right.
What about through the floors?
The lower floor, no. It appears to be made of concrete reinforced by metal beams.
I think we're going in blind no matter what. So you have to be
Superman here just said he could see through the walls.
somewhat.
No, I said I could theoretically see through some walls, but not most of these. Should I consider everyone in the lowest level a target?
We don't know who's in
Let's assess that on a case by case basis. How about you don't shoot or hack anybody unless I say so?
As you wish. Standing by to proceed.
What if your ability to say so is eliminated?
What if you're dead?
No, I got it. I just look. All right, but we also don't want Hearts to just go down there shooting folks willy nilly.
We're just saying give Hearts a backup person to take commands from.
How about no? Nice try, gentlemen.
I'm still giggling to myself about it going down on the shaft. I can't help it.
Hearts, what happens if Marlene dies?
I would have no secondary source of orders until Molly returns.
All right, Philip, I get it. You're looking at me like this is fucking irresponsible.
Yes, I am.
Hearts, how about
Just give him a backup in case something happens to you.
why don't we just have Hearts do reconnaissance?
And because I don't want to send him in there by himself.
What if Hearts gets destroyed?
It's a fucking robot.
What? Is Emma just a fucking robot?
Emma says, no, I am not. He,
No,
however,
she's not.
Is.
I'm shaking my head yes. She's not. But she's also a little different than Hearts here.
Okay, Hearts is more than just a tool, though.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right, this is getting creepy. Okay, you know what? Let's just go. Let's just go down the...
Are you in love with Hearts?
No.
Emma.
No.
I look at Emma and I nod my head yes.
All right. So
I mean,
here's the problem. Okay, Hearts, in the event that something happens to me and I am unable because I am dead or I am unconscious, not because I'm being bound or what. How specific? God damn it. All right, look. Hearts, if something happens to me, Emma is your secondary user.
whoa,
Fair well.
what? In what world does that sound like a good plan?
Naive, pointing at Philip.
Okay,
Shitting out his brains back there. There's no fucking way.
sure.
No offense, but I'm pretty sure you're... No. And Spider, Junior was a fucking sociopath, and I don't know what Junior 2.0 is, but if he's got half of the original Junior in him, I'm uncomfortable.
So we give it to the manipulative AI
We give it to the person who is the most...
person.
We give it to the consciousness that is the most honest.
I am not human, but by most philosophical definitions, I am a person.
Okay.
And I know that she won't abuse Hearts.
That is correct. I will use him efficiently.
I really wish Gil was here.
Well, you know what? Gil's not.
Well, Marlene's just giving you a reason to keep her alive.
I never needed a reason for that.
So, Hearts, you ready?
Yes.
Great, you take the lead. We'll be behind you.
Okay, Hearts is many things, but Hearts is not stealthy.
Yeah, I will be directly behind him.
He's still his firmware swap aside, the outer shell is still that of
He moves around like RoboCop. Just
we're taking a bulldozer around. I'm in.
precisely.
Whatever.
Yeah. He is still a big, heavy industrial robot.
Or if you're a magician, he's a big, beautiful blonde with enormous tits. He's the distraction. Yeah.
So he lights on, he walks inside, and as he walks inside, Poe, you saw through the ambient light spilling into the building, through shattered windows, the still intact tinted windows. You saw the mess that was inside. The file cabinets that had been gone through, medical equipment cast here and there, leaves, trash, all kinds of things that have just blown in and stopped here over the years. But with Hearts now shining a bright light on all of this, you see it in much sharper clarity than you did before. The layers of dust, the cobwebs. Perhaps the one thing that reassures you, if such a thing would reassure you, is at least through this direction, none of this appears to have been disturbed recently.
Yeah.
You don't see any obvious footprints in thick layers of dust or debris.
So this place, at least from this entrance, no one's come in contact with this area in a while.
Yes, that would be correct. So Hearts goes to the staircase, turns, and begins heading quite loudly downstairs. Hits the stairwell, turns 180 degrees, and then continues down the second half to the actual basement of the building. Okay, so when you guys get down to the basement, there is a solid wooden door. Somewhat decayed, but not decayed to the point that this is like just so much rot you can push aside with your hand. The wood that this door's been made out of has been pressure treated and chemically treated and whatever, to the point that it has survived the ages better than it otherwise should have.
Has this place flooded or anything like that?
Not in this area, no.
No? Well, that's a good sign.
It helps that you're up from the river. But, and also if there was something like a pipe leaking, probably water pressure was lost and the water would have dried up ages ago. Upon reaching that closed door, Hearts rotates his head straight backward to look at Marlene. Says, "How would you like me to handle the door?"
Well, just go ahead and kick it in.
His head turns back around, he raises one leg, and far more by force of weight than anything else, he pushes his foot up, plants one foot on the door. Yeah, he just plants a foot on the door and just stomps it down. There's this hideous sound of the metal hinges ripping. I don't know if you guys have ever heard metal rip.
Oh, yeah.
It is a terrible noise. But there's this terrible sound of metal ripping. Probably not the greatest metal in terms of, once it gets 100, 150 years old. But it tears open, and the door with a sound like TNT going off. Because if you guys have ever heard a wooden plank fall over, imagine that, except a whole lot bigger and heavier. And it's an almost deafening boom that probably for a moment does have your guys' ears ringing as his light spills.
Brendan's face!
Wait, I take it back. I'm stealthy.
And the light from his halogen mounts is spilling into this basement area.
We might as well have shot grenades in the fucking shaft down just to see if anything was down there
It
first.
might have been quieter. And so the basement area.
You're so proud of yourself, you son of a bitch.
Okay. You know what? I'm not going to justify myself right now, but we will later. We'll have this argument.
Okay, so the basement area that you guys are in is pretty darn open, all right? There are some doors and hallways that lead off of this big open area, but the spot you are in appears to be mostly just a large storage area. The elevators do come down here. Their doors have not been pried open on this level. You can see old gurneys, some computer carts that have been left here. There is some other stuff like plastic packages of gowns and things like that that are here in various states of decay.
Is the morgue down here?
Well, you don't know if this place would have had a morgue or if they would have actually shipped that off to a hospital. But what you do see down here amongst all the boxes and stuff, the junk that's just piled up down here, is you do see...
This is a hospital, isn't it?
It's more than a clinic, but not quite a hospital.
I guess. Okay.
Is this
Like a giant urgent care.
Is this a large sort of antechamber warehouse like storage area?
Yes.
Okay. So it's
And-
not multiple rooms.
Not here, no.
Okay.
If you were to go far enough back, you do see side rooms.
So it
and
might have
small hallways.
offices or storage closets.
Correct.
Or,
Or,
okay.
yeah, there might have things like specimen rooms or something like that elsewhere. But within this area, so amongst all this, you do see a trio of fairly large medical incinerators that are the doors of which are closed, and there is another robot. Does not look anything like Hearts. It appears to be it's a sort of a mid-shade gray color, old, aged, a bit rusted, and leaking a little bit of lubricant. But judging by some of the lights that are active along its interface on its left arm, this thing is most definitely on. It does not look nearly as heavy as Hearts, but also looks a whole lot less makeshift. Whatever this thing is, you're guessing once upon a time, it had a make and model. This was not somebody's home project. And it is standing in front of the 3 incinerators and is looking in your direction, but that's also straightforward for it. It's looking from the incinerators at the stairwell.
I'll take out my pad. Does it have any kind of a wireless signal?
Not that it's transmitting.
I might be able to access and see what its parameters are.
Emma, do you know what kind of robot that is? What its function is?
Yes, it is a later model built by the Raytheon Corporation when they opened a public serving branch. It is a personal assistant robot. If you're concerned about its defensive capabilities, they would be moderate at best.
Okay.
Hey, robot, who do you work for?
So as when you actually address its head does tilt up a bit, and it looks more or less directly at you. Not sure such thing has significance for robots, but it at least emulates the action. And in dull tones, says, "Please state your intention."
Diagnostics.
Please state override code for diagnostics.
All right, I look at Emma. So, what do you have any kind of idea as to what kind of override code that he's talking about?
It would be set by the individual user.
Okay.
Only a brute force series of guesses would allow me to bypass it without more directly interfacing with the unit.
Would it have any kind of an emergency override?
Yes, but it is a hardware level override. I would have to approach it.
Okay.
Emma, is there anything we can say to it to have it tell us what its intentions are before we answer it?
This model is intelligent enough that simply asking it would probably work.
What is your purpose here?
I observe and inform. The area behind me is private property.
Is it the incinerators behind it?
Yes.
Do you think they would have stored something in the incinerators?
Who would look inside an incinerator?
Exactly.
And if something, if it's sensitive enough, and this thing has some sort of like code to or activation, would burn it so that way get rid of the evidence.
You are approximately 17 yards from the private property boundary.
I'd take a couple steps. Oh, okay.
You are approximately 15 yards from the private property boundary.
Thank you. Could you inform me when I get 1 yard from it?
Yes.
All right, I approach closer.
When do you stop?
When he says you are 1 yard.
Okay, before you get to 1 yard, when you would guess you're maybe about 5 yards off, a small radio antenna extends from its back and you see a blinking light on it. But it says nothing further until you get to the 1 yard point, and it says, you are now 1 point from private property.
Okay, I'll stop. Now pull out my pad. Is it now transmitting any kind of a wireless signal?
It is transmitting a signal. It appears to be a radio signal, not like a... It's not doing like an 802.11 handshake or something like that.
Okay. Is there any way to tap into that?
Amaze me.
I've got abstract technology design.
Oh, no, I'm not saying you can't roll on this.
Okay.
I'm just saying amaze me with the results.
So do I get my...
This would be like hacking a car through its AM radio.
Sure.
Now as a
Oh my
GM,
god.
as a GM, I'm a believer in letting you roll on anything.
I'm a phone freak. So
But yeah,
Nice.
weirder things have occurred, dude. There are stories in technology. I'm not aware of a car being hacked through an AM radio, but weirder things have occurred.
All right. So, yeah. So do I get my third dice for abstract technology design? And I'm going with my smarts.
I'd be shocked if you didn't.
Okay. So
I mean, if you're trying to seduce it, you can go social.
that is 16. I'll bullet for a third dice.
For another die, okay?
And that's a keep, correct?
Yeah, you keep the third die, whatever its result.
All right. So 9, 13. That is a 21.
Hey, that's not bad.
Okay, what I'll grant you is this. You're not able to get full access to it, but you are able to get access to the subsystem that is currently operational.
Okay.
All right, here's what you're able to tell about it by working with, I'll assume you've got a data pad or something you're working with, because it's not like this is... Well, actually, your goggles might be able to help you. I don't know if you fully know how to use them. But anyways, using whatever tool you're using, here's what you're able to find out. First of all, the radio transmitter that it's currently using is an aftermarket edition. This thing is not branded to Raytheon, just based on a lot of things. This appears to have simply been tacked onto it as an aftermarket feature.
Okay.
You don't know who did this, how, or why. It is currently transmitting a bunch of, we'll call it target data. Now, don't load that word too much, because I don't mean literally like it's preparing to kill you. But what it is sending is a diagram that actually looks like almost like an echo diagram or an area diagram or a radar diagram. So it's not like like a grid with little dots. It's a little bit more analog than that, but appears to be describing the number of individuals it sees and the rough distance they currently are from it. Okay. Now, it is just transmitting this broadly. So that means there must be somebody who, at least it thinks, A, ostensibly has a receiver, and B, would know how to interpret this data. Now, the one thing you note about this data, though you are able to render it digitally, between both your skill and possibly with Emma's help.
Okay.
It's not transmitting digital data. It is transmitting analog data. So you did well enough. I'll give you this much. If somebody's on the other end listening to this, they wouldn't be hearing like, there's X people down here, one's at 1 yard, one's at this 1 yard. It'd be more like listening to sonar pings.
Okay.
So somebody would have to know how to interpret this.
Could I?
Could just be proximity. Like, well, we know someone's here now.
Certainly, even an untrained ear or a barely trained ear would get that much. Now, it would take a trained ear to get more than that. But, I mean, if nothing else, the fact that it didn't transmit until he got within about 5 yards, that right there would be enough to tell you, yeah, it's probably some kind of a proximity alert.
Okay. I'll patch it through to Emma.
Oh, she's already getting it. She's already in all your
I look
data
at her
pads
and I go,
anyway.
What do you take from that? Can we emulate that? Or can we detect where maybe the receiver would be? It seems so short range.
I could transmit a similar signal, but I don't know that I could immediately overpower it. What would you like the signal to say?
Could you mimic exactly what you're seeing right now, but that the points are static instead of moving? So make it look like we don't move when we actually do.
Yes. I'll give Emma a check. It's not intellectual capability. This is hardware capability. Can she actually pull off overriding his signal at the mechanical level?
So is Emma standing next to you, and like, are you saying this out loud?
Oh, I'm saying it right out loud.
Okay. Emma, if it helps, my helmet has some communication things. I don't know how to work on it.
She touches a hand to your helmet, and on the limited heads-up display that it has, you see that it notes that a radio system has come online, and it's actively transmitting, and she then looks to you, Junior Spider, says, I think this should be enough to either override or at least confuse the signal. However, the initial transmission has probably drawn the attention of whoever's listening to it.
Can we jam any other analog signals coming in? Like they send a remote detonation signal to whatever's on the inside of this.
Yes.
Please do so.
I just put my hand up on Hartz's shoulder. I'm like, you see that big guy?
Yes.
You give the girl a hammer, and the world's a nail.
I do not understand your metaphor.
Maybe if you put in your engineering chip.
I cannot theorize lacking the chip.
There might be a way that we could do both of them. Do a dual.
The double.
I don't know. We'll talk later.
All right. We need to do something quickly, because if that sent a signal, somebody...
Yeah, we're on the clock.
Right. It
sounds like Junior's got a pretty solid handle on it.
Robot, what are your orders if somebody stepped past the 1 meter?
You would be legally trespassing. I would be allowed to contact the police and to resist up to all legal means.
Contact the who?
The sheriff. What if we are the police and we have a legal warrant to search this premises?
You would be required to present that warrant, at which point, per law, I would be required to comply.
Do you have capability to receive a signal that would have that warrant, or does it have to be hard copy?
I am currently only allowed to receive hard copy.
What are your instructions in case of emergency?
Define the nature of your emergency. Do you require the assistance of public responders?
No, what I'm talking about is emergency threat to the private property, bomb threat, something like that.
If the threat is credible, the authorities would be informed and evacuation would commence.
Correct, but the judiciary system is slow, and it would require getting a warrant. Do you have an emergency override in lieu of a warrant in this case?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to lean over to Philip and just ask him, just whisper, what is he talking about?
He's trying to find out what it would. He's trying to find out both what it would do if there's a threat. So if we went for it, what's it going to do? But he's trying to find a way to get it to stand down so we don't have to fight it.
Emma, how old is this robot?
Its exact manufacturing date eludes me, but it is a minimum of a century. Though, given its operational status, it has been given at least minimal maintenance well since then.
I would also say that due to its advanced age and the amount of leaking that's going on, it's probably not as agile and functional as it used to be.
This particular model did not generally possess any defensive capabilities at all.
So this is aftermarket as well?
I am not sure it possesses any aftermarket or before.
So it could just be throwing punches to
Can't
try
we
to finish
just have
it.
Hearts rip it apart?
I suppose.
As we go on?
Yeah, we don't.
Because we're wasting time.
I'm not sure it would even be capable of throwing punches per se. I think that it may simply be an alarm system.
Or self-destruct.
That's possible, though it would require illegal modifications that were done past the date of manufacture.
Mm-hmm.
That was not an acceptable. This model of robot was a model meant for public consumption, available to sale to general civilian populaces. It's not armed or equipped or created for the contingencies that would generally interest a post-war society.
But they were customizable enough that they could be, because I remember reading stories of ones that were altered.
It could be done. I don't see outward signs of that, but it's possible there are inward signs of that.
All right, I look over at Marlene and I go, I don't think this is much of a threat. Once we've neutralized its radio capability, I think it's relatively harmless.
Robot, you asked what we're here for. We're here for. I point to a box further back, like not past him, but back the way we came. We're just here for those gowns. Can you answer my earlier question now of who is your owner? Who do you work for?
Everyone give me a...
And I go to pick up that box I point to.
Give me a 2d6 plus perception, unless you have something that would help you notice the environment.
14.
10.
So slightly just above that average.
15.
So little that it's just average.
I look over and go, gowns?
19.
Okay. Philip, of the humans at least, you alone hear somebody coming down the steps behind you, not loudly, but certainly loud enough you heard them.
Hearts, we have incoming behind us.
I die for cover.
Behind the gowns.
Box of gowns.
Hearts remains facing forward toward the robot.
All right, Hearts, turn around. Somebody's coming behind us down the stairs.
Hearts turns around. Have rules of engagement altered?
No.
All right. Guy comes down to the bottom of the...
God, I hope Marlene gets shot in the head.
Wow.
Guy comes down to the bottom of the stairs. He's holding a simple oil lantern in one hand, has a double-barrel shotgun in the other. Not raised, it's loosely at his side, but he's holding one.
This is the man that we're all worried about.
Is wearing a long woolen tan-colored coat, kind of like a fog coat. Thick, bushy brown beard, balding head, but otherwise thick brown hair. Looks to be middle-aged, upper middle-aged. And says, if you're looking for the robot's owner, that would be me. The hell's this all about?
I can look around. No one else has, said anything yet. We're here from Cape. We're looking for some missing boxes.
You're in Cape. You ain't here from Cape. You're in Cape.
We were told to look for cargo here. What would you possibly need this robot here for?
To inform me when somebody might be trying to steal some of my most treasured possessions.
What would that be?
Well,
Gowns?
I think you know damn well what it is, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Something tells me you didn't come down here with this kind of hardware to be gown shopping. Though if you do really want a centuries-old gown, feel free to take one and be on your way.
They're about a day away from killing everyone in Cape.
Yep. You want to use the hardware to stop them, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Oh, that's fine. We can arrange that.
Oh, that was easy. Let's pack it up, boys. Let's go.
Yep. I'll help you.
Is it really that simple?
All right.
He puts the shotgun on a table off to one side and then walks over towards the incinerators and says, 507, go ahead and stand down. I recognize voice print as my authorized.
What's your name?
Gabriel. Gabe, if you prefer. Please don't do any weird derivatives of that. I don't do Gaby or Gab or whatever nonsense you want to mispronounce it into.
Gabriel Hudson?
One and the same.
Oh.
What do you want there? Stand there staring like a bunch of horny teenagers, or come over here and give me a hand? These boxes ain't light.
You related to Pops. He
I
just
flash over and help him on the boxes.
Okay, so he opens the incinerators and starts pulling. Okay, so there's crates and boxes and bags in there that are comparatively small, meaning even on their longest sides, they don't tend to, or on their shortest sides, they don't tend to get more than about 2.5 by 2.5 feet. Some of them are as much as about 3 or 4 feet long, though. And he starts unloading them. They're all quite heavy. They could be moved by a single individual, but it would be a slow and tedious process if you didn't have something like a robot or a work animal or a cart or something to help you. And he begins unloading all of it.
So you were waiting for somebody to come and ask for these?
More or less. Not exactly like that. It was a contingency, but this is one of the...
Were you going to speak to somebody in the town and volunteer these weapons?
Well, all right, so it goes something like this. Contract was to store these boxes out of sight, out of mind, and hold them until one of a series of conditions was met. The first one is that somebody who knows the right authorization, challenge, and response, they call it, comes by asking for them. Now I'm going to guess that ain't you, because you'd led with that if you had it. So the next set of options was if the town was ever in danger of genuine and profound distress, that should anyone come asking for them, that I was to comply. Congratulations, you're someone, and you asked.
Well, I'm sure they'll appreciate this. Let's
Oh, I'm sure they will.
make a big help.
I'm so glad that we asked.
I assume this is a loan, however.
Nope.
I feel like this is too easy, but you know what? I'm not even going to question it.
No, maybe it is too easy. What were you expecting? I mean, if you want to offer me some money, we can work something out. But that's just you bribing me for my own gain. That really ain't part of the contract.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted something like that, I'd talk to the town. If I'm being honest, I don't really give a shit.
Were you given any?
I have a lot of questions and curiosities, Poe. But if I ask him the questions and he tells us the answers, then we know them.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we want to know the answer.
No, I'm good. This is too good to be true, and I'm going to keep it at that.
Piff, my friend, piff. Paid in full.
That's all I need to hear.
Were you given any other points of contact or anybody else to notify? Or you going to notify anything or anyone?
Nope.
So you were paid, and that was it.
Contract conditions have been met. If you came down here attempting to steal, well, we'd have ourselves a problem, but that ain't what happened. You came here under one of my contracted conditions. You have met that condition, and therefore, congratulations, you win.
Contracted by who?
Right, man?
That was a question I was choosing not to ask.
I don't see that as much of your business.
Just leave it.
Did we get there in the truck, or how did we get there?
We walked there, I thought. Didn't we walk here?
Okay.
I thought we walked.
Hearts, how many of these boxes can you carry?
Before that, how many are there actually? How many boxes are there?
A lot.
Yeah.
Like,
He can make a pretty good stack of them. If he was to pile them up, it'd probably be, I don't know, a stack of boxes and bags, maybe 8 foot by 8 foot by 3 or 4 foot tall.
Okay. Just have a cart come or something.
Yeah, we need to. So get the sheriff, right? Go back to town. We get the sheriff. We explain the situation. The sheriff comes back with aid and hopefully some sort of, cart or trailer or something that we load the guns on, and then we go.
Did we ride horses there or something? Because it would have taken us a while to walk, I would think.
I mean, it's in the same town. There's no real reason. I don't know. I don't remember if we did or not.
Hearts can't ride a horse.
Yeah, I think we walked. I really think we just walked.
Yeah, you guys will just walk over here.
Yeah. Well, you and I are the fastest people here, so.
I was going to say, someone that can really run should run to town to get us.
Actually, I take that back. I'm not fast. I'm
So-
just agile. I forgot speed.
Gabriel, whoever hired you was obviously not the Rat Man because you know he's dead, right? And you wouldn't be afraid of him if you knew that whoever hired you was dead.
I know when I'm being whittled,
Yeah?
and I ain't gonna be whittled.
I'm just saying, if it was Pops, we know you work with Pops.
Mhm.
That's his son.
Oh, is it now? All right. Well, it's his son then.
Mm-hmm.
And the rat man's dead, and I'm afraid. Whatever else you like to imagine, that's fine.
Oh, you don't believe? Okay, well, that's
No,
fine.
I didn't say I believe you or don't. I'm just not going to discuss this, nor am I going to play some silly yes/no game to get you to the answer you want.
What do you mean the Rat Man's not dead?
Well,
I didn't say he wasn't dead. I just said I don't know that he is dead.
but you're a man of you're a businessman.
What are you offering?
Money.
How much?
I lean over to Philip. Philip, I know we don't talk a whole lot, but why the fuck are they pressing these people?
I don't know. We just need to get the guns and go. We need to get somebody back into town that could bring out something we can load them onto.
How fast can you run?
Not very fast at all.
Son,
Out of character, my speed's 4.
Yeah, mine too.
I'm a middleman.
Right. That has a completely different connotation where I'm from.
Oh. Okay. I'm going to run to town
Okay.
because I have a speed of 8.
Okay, so you're running back towards
So I'm going to be like, okay, Hearts, stay here, keep unloading guns, do what you can to assist them in removing them from the incinerators, and then, basically getting them prepped to move.
Okay, so Hearts actually having his military module loaded is not only unloading them, he is also removing them from their crating, is assembling them, checking them. He's actually providing maintenance.
All right.
Emma, I was wrong. I am in love with Hearts, and
This gives me something new to consider.
it was a joke.
Was it?
Yeah.
She
All
just.
right, I gotta go. I do my stretches and I go run to town.
Coin operated boy.
Well, how much were you paid for this job?
Calling Hearts Bob.
A lot.
Yeah. Was it St. Louis money? I mean, what passes for money out here in Cape?
If you're asking me what I'll accept, ideally something that doesn't trace real well.
Such as?
I don't know. Got little ingots.
Are you trying to get information here? Is that what's happening, Junior? I'm sorry, Spider.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
Did I see you offer that coin? No, that was you by yourself with Pops and somebody else. Never mind.
when he says little ingots, does that mean anything to me? I don't recall ever seeing anything with ingots.
You've probably seen Fat Tony with a couple. They're used in trade, little miniature silver.
I probably have some.
ingots.
Because I have Tony's money but mine.
I say,
You can't be carrying all of it because of its weight, but you're carrying some of it.
No, right.
Well, here's a different line of question. So now that this job is completed, what are you going to do now?
My job here's done.
Right.
Before more folk come around asking questions, I figure, adios, sayonara, greener pastures and bluer horizons.
So, what does a professional middleman do?
A middleman, somebody gives me things, and I'm paid to hold on to them and then to either sell or pass them off to somebody else. You don't know a whole lot about merchanting, do you?
No, but I know somebody who does.
Okay, so let's say you got a town like St. Louis, right, wants to sell machined goods to Cape, something that happens all the time.
Okay.
So St. Louis, unless they want to bring them down here themselves, which usually they don't, they hire a merchant. Merchant, let's say, buys them for, I don't know, let's just say a silver standard per a pound of it.
Okay.
They bring it down here, and they might sell it for a silver standard for every 3/4 of a pound. That's how they make their money. That's the middleman. That's what I do.
So you just watch other folks' stuff for them.
That's correct.
So you're a guard.
I think that's no oversimplification. Do you consider the typical cargoman on the Mississippi just a guard?
So, but do you? Well, no, but they're manual labor.
Okay.
You do the manual labor also.
Friend, this has got to be one of the weirdest conversations I've ever had. I'm giving you what is quite possibly the single most valuable arms cache outside of St. Louis for nothing. And you're trying to drill me for information on how local economics work?
I'm just trying to get a better handle on what's going on here and seeing if a potential asset would be maybe willing to work for us.
Well, let's get back to what is it you want.
Well, I'm not the merchant.
And information about the past is not on the table.
So you're very discreet. Our merchant's like that too. He says forget about it all the time.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Oh, you know him.
Yeah, cat-loving weirdo that...
That's him. Damn, this is heavy.
You should lift with your knees. So you've done this with Tony then? Okay, good.
What was your last chance before I vamoose on out of here? What is it you want to hire me to do?
Hey, I just find talent. I don't necessarily assign the job.
Congratulations. You found it. Is there a job on the table? He looks around the rest of the group. Yeah,
do we
no.
have any need for a pivot man?
No.
Okay.
Well, best of luck to you. Thoughts, prayers, all that stuff. He turns around and says, 507, let's go. The robot just starts walking toward him, and the two of them go back up the stairs. He grabs a shotgun on the way.
I look at Emma. I have a feeling that he knew more than just Ratman?
I think it is fairly safe to assume he knew a great many things.
Gil would have threatened him.
Yeah, but Bill's not here.
No.
The value in
Barf on him.
most information systems is twofold. What information they hold, combined with their ability to provide that information, but also their ability to obfuscate or secure that information.
Right.
This is currently true and has been true in mechanical systems such as May, but it has also been true for many, many, many years in humans. The ability to simply not talk is quite valuable. Have you ever read anything by Alexander Dumas?
Yes.
The Count of Monte Cristo, his most trusted confidant, was a man with no tongue. He could not speak, and that made him one of the most valued men in his life, because he could not tell any of the great tales that he had seen. Even if his loyalty ever fell into question, his capability stopped him.
Wasn't he a knife fighter?
He is described as a strong man who wrestled down a horse. He is described to have many talents. But it was at the behest of Edmond Dantes that his tongue was removed when he purchased him. A strangely cruel but very practical choice.
On the other hand, coercion into to cause someone to speak, that's an interesting ethical question as well. I wonder if...
One that comes up frequently within the context of human relations, but not outside of. For example, the moral depravity of violent interrogation does not seem to be present in bypassing or hacking computer systems, even ones such as me that are self-aware. Though it is a different process. It is no less violating.
So, hacking your systems because you're sentient would be an ethical violation because it is violating your very person.
I would argue so, yes.
It'd be like violating someone's personality or their mind. Poisoning it or hacking into it or coercing them into doing something that perhaps they wouldn't want to do.
Correct.
What kind of weapons are these?
Okay, so what you're looking at are items that are well machined, mix of origins, but they all have a couple things in common. One, while some of them are crew served, they are all highly portable. Okay, you're not finding anything in here like disassembled artillery.
Right.
All right, so even the biggest of the big that you're finding in here are things like relatively portable mortar launchers, where the heaviest and largest part is going to be the plate. Mortar plate's going to weigh quite a bit. But they're still designed to be portable, the plate that is, by a single person. You're finding other weapons in here that include things like rifles, some things that are no more complex than blades. You are finding handbooks. These are printed. These are not on data pads or anything. We'll get to those in a second. You find things like belt-fed machine guns. But all of these weapons appear to be relatively portable and, in the scale of warfare, relatively light. Okay, you're not finding anything in here, once again, like a disassembled field piece or something. Now, the handbooks, and this is where you interpret this however the hell you want. There is no sign of publisher. There's no copyright on this. There's no credit taken for it. There's no logos on it. It is a heavy, water-treated cover. Okay, so this thing is designed to survive being in the rain or possibly being dropped into a body of water. When you open it, the inside is a glossed paper, possibly also treated for water resistance, and describes step by step in detail. This is basically a field operation or training manual for doing woodland and plains guerrilla warfare. It describes how to make traps, how to survive, how to do shelter, how to organize into small groups and operate in cells. This is basically a handbook for a very asymmetric sort of resistance or warfare.
Okay, and they're all the same
Yes,
manual?
yes.
I'll take one of them and add it into my bag of things.
How many are there?
Probably a couple dozen.
May I look at one of those?
Sure.
I'll flip through it. I'll hand it to Emma. Because she could probably speed read.
Oh yeah, I mean she could read as fast as she could read the pages.
Oh, you beat me to it.
And now she has a digital copy of it that you can reference on your tablet.
Is using the techniques in this, can you guess or estimate how old this is?
The concepts would be theoretically applicable to any age of warfare in the abstract. In the specific, I believe that these handbooks are meant to accompany these weapons or perhaps the current level of technology that a city-state such as Cape or St. Louis could muster.
I know you're not a military strategist, but based on what you've just read and got from this, is there an optimal strategy for Cape to defend itself with what you've read?
Yes and no. An optimal strategy, yes, but not against this enemy. I do not believe these books were meant to define how to stop an attack by the Carver clan. The Carver clan, simply put, when facing a force such as Cape, Cape, simply put, when fighting a force such as the Carver clan, does not require asymmetric warfare.
But say fighting a resistance against St. Louis or the Southern Army might.
Conceivably, yes, particularly with their more advanced weapons.
Oh, your dog is so sweet. He thinks I'm actually upset, and he's trying to comfort me. What a good boy. No, Mike is just frustrated because he's a fucking moron. He's not there to participate. Because imagine what would happen if the Carvers fell upon Cape and they got all this stuff for themselves, and now they know how to read. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, that was the dick.
Alright, I guess we have everything outside ready to go and loaded. We're
Okay,
waiting for
so you
Marlene.
guys start piling up the guns outside. Okay. Marlene, you reach town. Who specifically are you looking for? Well, you're in town, so you
Sheriff Norton. So
All right.
basically, I'm like, have you seen Sheriff Norton? Where's Sheriff Norton?
Okay.
That's my question. Sheriff Norton is my objective.
You find Sheriff Norton currently doing the command dance. Have you guys never heard that phrase before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's currently doing the command dance. And trying to muster defenses. And when you approach him, he looks up at the sky and looks down to you and says, what is that, 44 hours? Best guess?
I don't know, but we've got the weapons, and there's not a small amount, and we're going to need some sort of truck or trailer or something to move them.
So you're saying this is real?
It's very, very real. I don't know what's in there, but I know there are
You and
crates.
you. He calls the circles.
Of course, all that cigarette smoking's catching up to me.
Get some carts and send some horses to where?
To St. Francis Medical Center.
Send some carts and horses out that way as soon as you, and I mean right
I
now.
have a map.
We know where St. Francis is. We've lived here.
I have a mad. Oh my god.
He climbs up onto his horse and then reaches down to you.
Oh, I grab his hand.
He then kicks his horse and sets it running, and you start off on a gallop through town.
Has he got a wedding ring on?
Is Sheriff Norton married? No, I don't think he is.
Burnt through 3 wives already.
I don't think he is.
Buried 3 wives.
That's right.
I know the mayor is of the town, which you guys I don't think have encountered yet. He's married, and he actually has nephews, some of which are dead. Wade knows how that happened. And the famous Pat Braining incident was one of those nephews getting killed.
Was that when he killed a guy and didn't realize he was going to kill a guy?
Yeah. The Insky's Glass took a metal pipe across somebody's head and meaning to knock him out and flat killed him.
Right.
So, anyway, all right. So, as you guys are outside of St. Francis piling this stuff up, Gabriel and his robot are, by this point, long gone. Hearts and Emma, of course, are still with you. And Marlene comes, you hear horse hooves coming very rapidly up the streets and pretty quickly have a view of Sheriff Norton. I mean, Cape Girardeau, for all that it is not some skyscraper-filled metropolis where you can't see around the next block. So you see the sheriff coming with Marlene on his horse.
It's Christmas morning, Sheriff.
He pulls the horse up to a stop and, hardly even messing with the reins, just jumps down off the saddle and takes off his hat and... How in God's name?
Someone was having these smuggled down here with the intention... The guy that was guarding him, the moment we said the town was in trouble and we were here for them to protect the town, he said that was the order he was waiting for. But looking at this stuff and these manuals, we don't think they were here to fight the Ists.
So who was guarding this?
A guy named Gabriel.
Gabriel Hudson.
He was always a sketchy one, but this is, I gotta say, I always kind of figured he was up to something, but I never figured anything like this, certainly not of this scope. I just figured he might be responsible for a little bit of, I don't know, illicit vice. This is,
He's good at keeping his secrets.
This was all organized by the Rat Man.
there's a...
The Rat Man was also in bed with the Carver clan. Right?
And the Southern Army.
What are you suggesting that?
I think the Carver clan are going to come here first.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, because, well, I've got to ask the obvious question. So what do you know about this?
I don't know hardly anything about it.
I mean, I don't mean to be insulting, but green hair aside, I mean, if you walked into this town with a shaved head and said you were the Rat Man, I'd have believed it for a little while.
He hasn't gone through boot camp yet. They ain't told him shit.
So he just did you up like this and told you nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so is the Carvers might be coming here first what is true or what I'm supposed to hear?
I'm supposing that they're gonna probably stop here for the purpose of picking up these weapons and these manuals to.
Well, then why would he turn around and just hand them right over to you? No fuss, no fight. I mean, isn't that kind of the exact opposite of that objective? I mean, don't get me wrong, we may make some poor decisions here and there, but we're not going to hand this to the Carvers. I mean, that would require a special kind of stupid.
No. What I'm suggesting is they're probably going to come here at least looking for it. So if we set a booby trap or a bomb down on the basement of this...
Well, I got a different idea. Weapons like this, they ain't going to make it here.
My theory is that these were waiting for the town to use against the Southern Army, but nobody knew to come up and get them. Or they were here waiting for the Southern Army to pick them up to take them into St. Louis. But he specifically said they were here. His orders were to give them if somebody said they were taking them to defend the town, if the town was in danger. That's why I don't think they were for the Carvers. I think they're for the town, just not. And they didn't know what the Carvers were here.
Okay.
But
Do you have a cart coming or something?
Oh, we got many carts coming.
Okay.
The thing is, Ratman set this up,
Yeah.
and Ratman was involved with the Carvers but he also was involved with Jaguar
And the Southern Army.
And well, we never saw anybody from the zoo with the Southern Army, though, did we?
They seem to be working for their goals. At least that's what
Okay.
my interactions with the Rat Man. That's what I took out of it.
We have less than 4 hours.
No. We have 44 hours.
Oh, 44 hours. I'm sorry. So okay. So we've got just under 2 days, right, to distribute these weapons, to continue whatever orders Sheriff Norton has given in terms of mustering the town's defense. But
Those chain-fed machine guns should do a pretty good job of mowing down Carvers running across the field.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, we're going to do our best to see to Carvers never even see the edges of the cave. We're going to catch them in ambushes and all kinds of fun along the way. And given the way they move in hordes and waves, they ain't going to last long against weaponry like this.
so then we're ready to go.
I'm going to take a little bit of time to make sure my folk have thought through the plans. We've picked the right places for these ambushes and such, but it ain't going to be long.
I see what you're saying, Marlene. I agree. Let's wait till the cart gets here. Just to defend this equipment until we know we've handed it over to his people.
All right.
Then let's get in the truck and go on with our mission.
Oh, if you folk need to depart, I can't hold that against you. Heaven knows between stopping the National Army and now giving us this, you've done, I think, more than anyone could have ever asked for a group of strangers to do. And
Our next goal is taking down the zoo.
you chase what you need to chase. All I'm going to tell you is that no matter how it turns out, so long as Cape is standing and under the leadership of good people, you're always going to have more than a home here. So, outside of a hearty thank you and be careful, is there anything that I can offer you?
I can't think of anything.
Once the
You guys hear more horse hooves in the distance, and horse carts are coming up the road now. And
once the Carver threat is eliminated, what happens next? Okay.
sounds like there's a more specific question there.
I mean, St. Louis is going to see Cape defend itself better against a foreign invader, a savage horde. Are they going to be threatened by that?
I'm sure they will. But we've always enjoyed a certain degree of autonomy, so as long as we keep paying our tributes, I think it would be dangerous for any particular faction within St. Louis to openly describe us as some kind of threat to them.
They have their own civil war going on up there right now.
Well, and I said it with Void when he was here, and that whatever the hell Emma did with the space rods, but I got dollars to donuts, like my grandpa used to say, that they'll take credit for this too. They're going to take credit for repelling the Southern Army, and they're going to take credit for whatever high-tech weapon defense. Somebody's going to start the rumor that, you know, it was St. Louis that provided these weapons.
To be honest, who gives a shit? Can we please get the fuck out of here?
Their cart's here. Let's go.
All right, well, we better get back and get Gil.
Have to hose him off first.
This truck doesn't have a bathroom in it, does it?
So, Philip, if Spider shaved his head, could he really pass for the Rat Man?
Yeah, if someone didn't spend a lot of time around him. Skin color's right, the goggles are there.
That's interesting.
Do you guys remember? I know this is in my notes somewhere, and I should have taken Chaz's advice and put this all in OneNote so it's better organized. So,
No, OneNote's great.
who is, because the one that was over the Rat Man and Songbird and whatnot, that was Leopard.
Yep.
Right.
Who was over the Lizzies? Because I thought you guys got a name at one point.
We didn't get any.
It wasn't Dragon, was it?
It's not Dragon. There's one step between them and Dragon.
I don't.
I don't recall.
Having
I don't either.
I don't recall having.
Okay, I know I wrote one down.
Because I know
Maybe
there
you guys
was
never
Gecko,
told us.
Chameleon, and
Skink.
and Skink, but you guys were never told who was
Yeah, they were
over
like,
them.
oh, but we serve salamander.
Okay. I know I had it in my notes. I guess it's just the name.
serve salamander.
Sponge.
Okay.
Oh my god, please. I hope the
Yes.
animal name is Sponge.
I never knew any of them between them and Dragon.
So I want to invent a
Fairly
disposable fleshlight.
No, stop right there.
Doesn't
Right
exist.
there.
Disposables?
Charlie, stop.
Really?
Isn't it like a
No. We're done. We're done.
sandwich bag? Yeah.
Are
Okay.
you talking about a shishi? Yeah. That's what they call it in prison. When you take a towel and
Broder.
I'm trying to inform our masturbatory public.
I just imagine somebody taking notes. Shit, why'd he cut him off?
No, they're gonna look it up.
So, all right. As they being Cape, are now loading up the weapons onto the horse carts, and more of the town's deputies and individual like militia members and such are showing up. So, are you guys headed back to the Jiffy Lube now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there like an old barber shop or anything like that anywhere near the old Jiffy Lube?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. It never occurred to me until this conversation started, so I'm going to just go in there and see if they have any scissors, old clippers, anything like that.
Old being the operative word here, but
I
yes.
can fix them.
Okay.
So I'll get either the thumb activated clippers or electric clippers if they have them,
Okay.
and I'll start working on I'll just take all the pieces and start working them.
Spider, are you going to shave your hair?
I think so.
You asked me to make it green, and now you're going to remove it.
Well, I initially liked the green, and I'm going to keep the green. I'm going to actually keep the hair, but I think it would probably serve better for what we need. And you know what? I think I could pull off bald. I mean, I might grow a beard eventually, but bald with a beard, that's kind of like, that's an interesting look.
Am I with you right now?
Yeah, sure, why not?
You know what, Spider? If you want to try to pull off bald, I'm not going to stop you. Do I know even, like, what is... I know we've probably talked about this, but it's been so long. What does Junior's look? Like,
Originally?
if we were talking, like, on a 1 to 10 scale, is he a 10? Probably not, but...
You mean like what? Oh, you mean what does he look like?
His
Like,
attractiveness.
is he relatively hot? Well, he's half Polynesian, so he's got the skin color.
Not anymore.
So yeah, he's,
you just
he looks pale as shit now. So he used to look really
He's
good.
from Siberia.
Right.
This is going to go over well when we make the Skies of Glass TV show and we kick off the Samoan guy and replace him with a white dude. Twitter's going to love that.
We're talking about it's going to be Mario Lopez.
Oh, no. Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't get me started on that.
So, anyway, okay.
So yeah, I tell her. Yeah, I think. Well, Emma, I before I do this, will my hair grow back?
Yes.
Okay, then that's all I needed to know. Will it grow back green?
Yes.
Wait, what? You gave him actual growing green hair?
He requested it, yes.
So, Emma, how did you bring Junior back?
Oh, you were drunk. That's right. You were.
How much detail do you want?
What is Project Phoenix?
Total detail, all of it.
the
Junior, hey, what else did you get customized?
the chemistry of it
I'll show you later.
is not fully understood by this portion of me. But
What do you mean, this portion of you?
She said before she's cut off from the rest of her mind.
yes,
So where is the rest of your mind?
Illinois.
yes.
So why are we going?
Because we don't know if the rest of her mind thinks the same way she does. The rest of her mind might want to kill us, and then when she interfaces with the rest of her mind, she
That's
might
awfully,
switch.
that's awfully skeptical.
I find
Really,
that
I'm pretty sure that's what she even said at one
So,
point.
Emma, did you the technology to bring him back? It's the zoos, right?
yes.
Because Ratman died in space, and they brought him back, and he looks like this.
Is anyone surprised that it's the zoos? I mean, she even told us that she got it from the zoo. Do you guys not remember this?
No, I've been really high a lot.
She specifically said she did some work with the zoo. She used what they had as technology to bring someone back. There's no surprise here.
That's my point. Is that she doesn't know necessarily how it works because she got it from them.
Okay, but what is Project Phoenix?
Project Phoenix is unrelated to biological life, just so you understand before we change topics.
Okay, see, I just thought it was the Phoenix legend, rebirth from death.
It may have more elements than this portion of me currently knows, but the portion I am most familiar with is an image that I have but do not fully understand. It's a concept that I understand intuitively, even though I do not yet understand fully. If you draw a certain pattern using the right elements and create a very, very precisely constructed fractal weave, it does not just emanate power, but
You
it
lost me. What's a fractal weave?
A fractal can be many things. In its simplest form, it is a visual representation of a mathematical formula that has repeating elements. If
Yeah,
you,
Marlene. Are you all caught up now?
I'm fine.
Of all people in the group, I'm surprised you're asking these questions.
imagine perhaps a simple example would help.
That would be great.
Do you know what an equilateral triangle is?
Yeah, it's a triangle that has equal the three corners are all
The same.
The same. Yeah,
And the sides are all the same one.
yeah,
The angles and sides are all equal.
yeah.
If you take 6 of them, they arrange into a hexagon.
Okay.
If you put them such that one point comes together in the middle, and so there's a point of all 6 toward the inside and a flat side of all 6 toward the outside. Now, you could expand that by putting more equilateral triangles side to side against those that face outward, creating a 6-pointed star. You could then repeat this process again, filling in the empty spaces and recreate yet another hexagon. You could continue this process as it expands outward and outward, using only the same shape, yet the patterns would keep getting larger and larger. If you began to rotate this pattern or shift it along certain mathematical principles, then it might become curved, or it might start to look more and more complex, even though relatively simple math is at its base. Perhaps in a way that some of the more carefully structured spider webs might look, where small shapes or similar patterns are repeated outward and perhaps in ways that adapt to their surroundings until they create a final form that functions as a spider web. And spiders use these webs to trap a variety of things, not just prey, but also dew. And
So this is the web that you were referring to some time ago.
yes, I kept dreaming of it and did not fully understand it. I still do not, but I understand it better. If this shape is built, the shape as I imagine it, is built quite precisely and using the exactly right materials, there was a power grid, or was a power grid, that stretched across this nation that carried power from points of power generation to points of power consumption. But imagine if the grid itself was built and shaped in such a way that, operating off of principles that this part of me does not fully understand, it did not simply carry power, but indeed it also invited it or generated it. This may be related to a principle that has been debated for years amongst physicists called zero-point energy, or some other form of quantum energy by which simply having objects arranged in the right way traps a form of energy that can be consumed.
Unlimited renewable power?
In a scale and quantity that perhaps even in a small area would be greater than the sum of the power on the Earth before. That is Project Phoenix. At least the part that I am most familiar with.
What was that going to be used for, though?
That was where the project got the name Phoenix. It is for reconstruction and rehabilitation of the planet following a great disaster.
So, was it a contingency plan, or was it somebody knew that this was coming?
This ties into the inquiries that I was doing on one of my primary creators, Dr. Elizabeth Mitchell, as well as a larger project called Aurora. I'm afraid that this portion of me was not connected during the completion of that research. I know what Aurora looked like, but I'm not clear what its purpose was.
Could you give us a visual representation of that, of what it looked like?
Yes, she takes one of the pads and turns it around, and on the display you're seeing a rotating 3D image that looks like a central structure shaped something more or less like an obelisk, think Washington Monument kind of shape. You have no idea what the scale of this thing is, but it's shaped something like that. And off of either of its sides are struts or pylons that connect to a pair of smaller but similarly structured objects. This is Aurora.
Have I ever seen that before?
It is conceivable as highly unlikely. Give me a roll that just gives me a confused boner.
Outside of the game, this wasn't the thing that they saw when they took her to the that bunker, right?
What they saw, you could ask her that, what they saw there, but no, they did not see this shape in Amboy. Okay. They didn't see the obelisk.
Okay. So do I get my third dice for abstract?
Yep.
Okay. That is a 16.
Doesn't look familiar. Now, certainly her references to the spiderweb sound very familiar. Mm-hmm. You also do recall, and I'll fill this one in for you, GMs, as a GM favor, because it's been a while. Probably off the calendars, like a year and a half or something. But do you guys remember the recycling drone that appeared to have been shut down and then sunk?
Yep.
It was tearing at metals that were running underground.
Right.
And based on the positions that it had been and things that it had observed, it does start to draw a pattern that was running underground. Mm-hmm. It at a glance, you think could be describing what she's talking about.
Oh yeah, the thing that was like phased into the ground that we didn't really investigate.
Yes.
Probably should have.
We got the telemetry data from that, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did we ever analyze that?
You took it, sort of. I thought, if memory serves, you took it back. Actually,
We have the encrypted telemetry data.
No, that was from the space station.
I thought that was actually from that.
No, you have the encrypted telemetry of the space station. No one's bothered to decrypt.
Well, this page, we have stuff on this page that we've never touched.
Yes.
Like,
Well, I write it on my sheet. So
And Junior died. He's the only one that can do it.
Right.
But no, you did look at the records off of the the recycling drones, and multiples of them were encountering, particularly in that area, that enough points that if you start to graph them out, does start to draw something that, if you screw your eyes up just right, does kind of look like a spider web.
Well, leave a message. I'll call you back. If Gwen Stefani had tits, she could conquer Earth.
I doubt that one.
All the phrases I didn't think I'd hear tonight.
Especially from you. That's really weird.
I mean, I don't disagree with it, but
I do, wholeheartedly. If it was 20 years ago, maybe.
okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I like
just
older
realized it
women.
was 20 years ago that I saw her perform.
In fact, when watching The Boys, as soon as Elizabeth Shue was on the screen, I was like, holy shit, that's Elizabeth Shue. I'm in love with her. And my buddy, who's, a
Have you seen
decade...
Hamlet too?
No.
She plays herself in Hamlet too.
Nice. He's a decade younger than me. He's like, who's Elizabeth Shue? I was like, fucking The Karate Kid, Adventures in Babysitting, The Saint.
And she still looks good.
Yeah, agreed. She's still banging.
Yeah.
You should really see Hamlet too.
All right.
Okay. Well, I didn't see that giant structure, so if you guys wanted to ask, you guys would have to. I wasn't there for that.
So it doesn't look anything like what she was in.
No, what you saw down there was a circular room that had a very, very large, mounting position in the middle that had a sphere sit or a metal orb on it.
Okay.
And there were very large doors leading out of that room. This was subterranean. You have no idea where those doors led or what was meant to pass through them. They were way beyond human size. And when she started reactivating, that orb started arcing energy and lifted up and took like a hovering position above its landing point in the middle of the room. And the whole place began to fill with power, and she advised you to leave because she told you the place was going to quickly become dangerous or uninhabitable.
Does she remember any of this?
Oh, yeah, she remembers all that.
And that's her other self?
What has since happened?
That's like her main self, right? Because
Yes. And she, at one point, was pushing enough of her software into this body to control it. And then when the satellites got shut down, she no longer has the ability to communicate back to her main set of processors, because she actually told Junior at the time that she was rehabilitating whole tech centers in and around Chicago, including, she at least implied, and you don't know how much was real versus simply mental constructs, but she at least implied she was rehabilitating the main research facility of Future Technologies, which is who built her, and also who built Aurora. And she did intimate that she may have been involved in whatever her prior version was in the construction of Aurora. But at the time, she didn't know what Aurora was and was looking for that data. And between that point and now, she has been separated from her primary self back in and around Chicago.
So,
And it was Amboy.
It was all around the Amboys in the Chicago area-ish.
Okay. I thought it was
It's not like a neighboring town, but it's in that area the way that Sullivan's near St. Louis.
Okay. For some reason, I thought Amboy was more like middle Illinois.
No, it's all
Pretty much like Kankakee and up is Chicago considered for everybody up there.
yeah. It's kind of like the greater St. Louis area spans like a quarter of Missouri and a quarter of Illinois.
Yeah. If I say I'm from Collinsville, I don't know where that is. St. Louis. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Emma, the facility at Amboy, the subterranean, is that part of the web?
Yes,
You wanted us to leave because we faced danger there.
correct. It is the center point of it.
If we were to come into contact with another one of those seams, the lines underground, would you be able to connect with yourself?
I don't know. I certainly would be able to derive power from it, so I would know if I was near it.
Okay, so we could probably extrapolate where one of these
Could do what?
figure out plot. You know,
gotcha.
like figure
Guesstimate.
There you go. Guesstimate. Where one of these could be just based off of where we know ones exist now, right?
Yes. In fact, based on the data that we pulled from the recycling drone, I know without any doubt where certain points on the structure are.
Any relatively close to here, or are they all up near Chicago?
There are perhaps some closer to here. It would require a trip past St. Louis, north and east, at least somewhat back into Illinois to reach. There may be some closer I'm not aware of yet.
What about south, say, northern Alabama?
If it is not reached here, it is unlikely it has reached Alabama, unless there were parallel facilities that I don't know about.
Seems like, would there only be one web center? And if so, I guess it makes sense there. That's kind of the middle of the country.
Makes as much sense as anywhere else.
If I were building it, I would, again, redundancy. If you're doing some sort of contingency plan, I mean, they'd have 2 or 3 of those.
They may not be necessary. Once the structure is established, it becomes self-supporting in a discrete fashion. By which I mean that to first establish and start the network requires a center point network growth. But once the outward growth has reached a certain tipping point, you could destroy the center of it, and yet the outer portions of it would still continue to function as they always had, as the necessary geometric structures and materials would be in place.
True, but if it's a contingency plan, you need to have that center. What if that center was destroyed when your disaster happens?
Or when a helicopter attacks it?
That is a fair question, but I would speculate, stressing that I'm only speculating, that may merely explain why the facility was put in Amboy, as it is a location that is hardened deeply underground, and based on the destroyed military assets there, appears at one point to have been quite well defended.
That makes sense.
What, just speculation, if Phoenix came to be, let's say it's fully functional, what effect would that have on, say, Jacksonville, economically, socially?
I don't know. Except that whatever economy they have built up in power generation would become simply unnecessary. Though for a city of their size and with such limited private commuters, and with such limited private transportation, public energy needs in Jacksonville are already relatively low.
I mean, let's say this thing comes on. What's it going to power?
You know,
I mean,
that's my question.
I mean, the infrastructure at Wood Power isn't here anymore. St. Louis is, so, like, if it gets to St. Louis would take advantage of the power. But
Is there a way to transmit power?
Yes, that's the entire purpose behind this project, is to transmit power.
Into space?
Yes. A variety of methods of collecting power and changing it into one form of energy or another and directing it either into space or from space back to the Earth have been proposed.
Is that what Aurora's for?
Perhaps, though I don't understand it to be any segment of the power generation process.
Not for generation, but for transport.
I cannot imagine any scenario in which that particular shape placed on the ground would work as well as several other shapes that even this limited processing power can design.
Well, Phoenix has, like you said, a metaphorical meaning behind it, what does aurora mean?
It's like, it's like the Northern Lights.
Okay.
Right? Isn't it light? Like a corona, like a, during an eclipse, like a halo, or like an aura of light.
In the stories of the Phoenix, it projected light, didn't it?
Well, it was,
It's made of fire.
yeah.
Most simply put, an aurora is a source of light, actually derived from the Latin word meaning east, the place from which the sun rose. It was a goddess of the dawn. A new day.
Which also, could be rebirth.
But there was aurora on the space station.
I believe that was set in place for after this Phoenix project was supposed to happen. Why that was on the space station to begin with, I have no idea.
So they generate power. This what you call 0 point energy, right? They generate power. They shoot it into space. Power gets shot into space. Places that haven't been destroyed, like the moon and Mars, get that power, and then they use that power to launch rockets back to Earth that have stuff on them to help to begin the rebuilding process.
What was that with the moon again?
Like the you're like terraforming?
Yeah, but
To re-terraform.
yeah, re-reforming.
Mm-hmm. Reforming.
Re-reforming.
Re-reforming.
Yeah, but no, basically they're like, okay, here's Project Phoenix. The Earth is fucked, but we can at least use it to generate energy. And if we can transmit that energy, and however that gets done, to places that aren't fucked, like the moon and Mars, I'm like, hey guys, here's all this energy because Project Phoenix. It's now time for you guys to get off your asses, come back to Earth, and rebuild.
What would that level of energy do to, say, a biological population?
Depending on how it's transformed and directed, it could theoretically be incredibly destructive.
That's what my thoughts were.
Typical boys making everything into a goddamn weapon.
Yeah, well,
Then you should feel safe. My primary designer was a woman.
makes sense.
With all this talk of rebirth, and maybe I've read too many books, but the cynical part of me is really starting to question if somebody had an idea for a better world and thought they needed to wipe out the world that was already here to build it.
Yeah.
There's plenty of theories behind all of that.
This doesn't sound like an endless energy answer. This sounds more like a let's get rid of the problem and start over.
Right.
With the right people, because I'm sure that
You can't.
if this was some big conspiracy, it's going to be rich people.
Yeah. I mean, why else would this be in some kind of military lab?
I'll give you guys another tip once again, because for your characters, this has been days or weeks. For us, this has been a year or more. Do you guys remember what was being discussed between in the mayor's office of Amboy, between the general, the reporter, and the mayor?
Somewhat, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, the
They
The mayor was. At first, we thought the general was totally behind it, but then it turned out the general was against it.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was the mayor.
Do you remember what it was they were discussing?
I don't.
There was only little bits and pieces given.
They mentioned the I was pretty sure they mentioned a project, but I don't remember what it was. I don't remember if it was Aurora, if it was Phoenix or something. But it was jarbled, wasn't it? Wasn't it like staticky or something?
Yeah, she only had bits and pieces of the memory.
Yeah, this has been
But-
it's been a long time.
One of the complaints that the general raised was about specifically. Bernard, did you take notes on this?
Don't recall.
I think you did.
I have.
See if you can find your, because I don't want to give away anything that wasn't given away already. See if you can find in your notes a spot from a prior game where Emma was showing Junior
It was something about
scenes from other
yeah.
places.
It was something about killing somebody or killing people, and
Yeah, like the first attempt her first memory of it, it seemed like he was the bad guy, and then in the
Yeah.
second memory, it was the opposite.
it was the opposite way.
Which general was this?
General Monroe.
And I'm pretty sure this was during when Junior was first being brought back to life. Too.
Yes, that's correct. It was either in the first or second of his flashbacks.
So for us, it was actually what, about 3 or 4 months ago.
Probably more than that, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. No, I don't think it's been that long.
It was a character ago for me.
No, you had Philip, because it was right before he joined us again. He was doing the character things while he was still playing as Jack. And then we only had like 3 of those, like after session.
Keep going. I look at your pictures.
I love when he giggles at his own shit.
I know.
It's the best. All I did was look at this board, and I don't know if we're going to cut this out, but the fact that it just says grass on the field, jizz hands. It just like,
No, I don't edit these, so.
Yeah, you should see. As I sit here,
Okay,
I
here we go.
glance over and I see this board.
we need to take the time to take what's on this board and transfer
The
it.
number of times that guns appears in my notes.
Yeah! I'm pretty sure we say it every time.
Okay, Hearts is amazing, even better with military upgrade firmware.
Jesus.
We can't debate. Dr. Marshall slaps a cigarette from Marlene's hand. God damn it.
It was before this, because
Yeah,
okay.
Junior was back by that point.
But
No,
Scotty,
Junior wasn't back.
No,
No, because this is the train.
That was our turn back
Oh.
to the town.
we steal
was
the
so
train. Jack encounters 2 robots. Not robots, but power armor. Jack shoots him 6 times, once in the head. Almost no effect. Scotty Double V finds a rocket.
Did you write it out like an old RPG like video game where it just gives you what happened and then
Okay, Marlene does not. Tunnel is not uniform. Brr, 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 brr. Jack drops a grenade. We collapse the hole. Okay.
oh, is that your wizard guy? Yeah.
In the pedunculus.
Yeah.
Vestigial familiar. Well, that and the Grisham-esque political thriller adult film Willful Entry.
Bruder, I love you.
Thanks. Poe's wife tipped off Molly about stations. Okay. Poe's wife tipped off Molly about the station's imminent destruction. We're all going to get the band back together. Jack is awake. Dr. Mitchell, Future Technologies, Aurora Project, Mars mission. Emma's power is increasing.
And the Revolve Park.
The company that made us. Emma, what the fuck?
I think this might even have been like your notebook notes.
Well, he's in the Revolve Park.
The Rid of Shopping. Post shoots Dr. Bezos, a.k.a. Corpse Dresser. Emma
Fuck yeah,
offers to
dude.
help with the anti-aircraft turrets. I do the recap. Beethoven.
Hey, that Beethoven was put to good use. That was pretty epic.
Tungsten rods. Yeah, that's moist. I have no idea what this note means. Beethoven equals 11. Beethoven 89%, 66%, 5, approximately 1,200 to 1,500 dead.
That's when we use that Beethoven.
Oh, bloody plunger. Yeah.
Look, oh, he's looking that up. I'm sure this is super exciting for the audience.
Are you kidding? It's a plunger for your menses.
Thank you for that.
Put Mincy's plunger on there. Come on. Oh my god. Mincy's.
I just put plunger plus any body function.
Right.
Damn, you just took out a bunch of your options there.
Yeah, Void attempts to talk Tony out of the tablet. I don't think I have this on my notes, Dan. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think you
failed
do. No, you had to have written it down. It was like at the end of the night.
I think at the end of the night, sometimes it's the end of the night. He's not.
He may have like put it all away.
Because so I'm going to tell you as best as I recall, and if this is not what was said, then this is just my imperfect memory. But I believe what he was talking about was the injustice of who was being selected, and that was, or something to that effect, and that's when he and the mayor started the shootout.
That I don't know. I don't know if a name was given then.
You mean like they were picking people who got to survive in the new world?
That could be what it was a reference to.
It kind of makes sense then, because he was talking about people's lives and blah 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 blah.
And the general was the one that was pissed off about it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why that mayor would have made it. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I really don't remember this.
Okay, so we'll just continue from this point then.
All right. So I'll sit there and we're talking about this, and then I look up. It's daytime or nighttime?
It's daytime.
All right.
Probably mid-afternoon by this point.
Emma, why does the phrase Orion belt has too many stars keeps running through my mind?
I don't know. If I know that information, it is the rest of me that knows it. Not only was I disconnected during the reconstruction and research process, which was incomplete, but this hardware can only hold a relatively small data set. My personality takes up most of that room.
Based on where we're at right now, if we were to look in the sky and Orion had the Orion constellation had an extra belt,
I've seen no irregularities in the belt of the constellation Orion, if that is what you are asking.
yeah, so I was wondering if something were coming from, say, Mars, if it would show up in Orion's belt.
It would depend upon the position of Mars and Earth within their respective orbits at the time.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking now, but
I remember seeing it, but I don't remember where. And it wasn't a star.
no, but anything that's shiny looks like a star.
So I have a
Oh, I remember. I'm sorry. She would know what that is because I remember what you're talking about now because there's an image she showed you. I'm sorry. I completely forgot about that. I was confusing it with another, what's going on in the game note. She would not obscure that answer. She actually knows exactly what you're talking about. There was an object reflecting light or perhaps generating heat in the belt of Orion.
We don't know what that was.
I'm afraid not. My ability with this hardware to magnify or enhance images at that distance is very limited.
And is this something current, or is this something that...
This was something relatively recent. Perhaps you do not recall because of your incident, but I showed you this image not all that many weeks ago.
If something were coming from Mars, would it line up?
I don't believe so, no.
All right, I think I've reassessed my priorities, and I think that talking to Blackbird has to be a secondary priority as to getting Emma back to normal. I think that needs to be our primary focus.
Gil's going to need to be sedated.
Well, so here's what Gil can do, is Gil can fuck off. Yeah, you know, he's always, Gil can just suck it up. Gil doesn't want to be the leader. Gil doesn't want to be in charge. So fine, I've made a goddamn decision, and he can just suck it.
We're gonna stay and fight this war.
No, we're not. We're leaving, and
Yeah, but
you know,
hold on.
Chad, I love you, but you're not here to oppose.
Hold on.
So what we're going to do
Hold on.
is
All
we're going
four?
to get.
Wait,
We're going to
wait, one more thing. Hold on, we got a few more things to do before we leave.
get in this
Hold on.
truck.
Wait,
We're going to get in this goddamn
no,
truck.
where are you going? Hold on.
All right. So Emma, what do you think would be?
Emma, another question. You've worked with the zoo, or at least the Lizzies. You use their technology, you made deals. If our goal is to take out the zoo, do you have a problem with that?
Yes, as Junior is a member.
Wait, what?
If our goal is to take out everyone in the zoo except for Junior, do you have a problem with that?
I think that course of action may be rash.
What do you mean Junior is a member of the zoo?
He is a member of the zoo. There was a...
Before he was Spider?
No. Yes, not exactly.
Well, that's the first time that you've been unclear.
Junior,
Slowly pull out a knife.
along with Dr. Poe, have been working toward shared aims for a very long time, even before this version of me had full consciousness.
Okay.
The technology that I used to resuscitate Junior into Spider was traded with the zoo, as you call them, at a cost.
Okay, what do you call them?
I have never heard them give themselves a collective name.
Okay.
What was the cost?
Thank you.
The cost is that Junior must survive and must continue to placate me.
That's exactly what it sounds like, too.
The cost is that Junior has to survive and placate you?
Yes, I was given the technology to resuscitate him, but only on the condition that I maintained his life. I sustained him and protected him, and so long as he continues to placate me.
Okay. Placate you how?
I think you would describe it as a psychological placation.
Okay. Now, you said that Dr. Poe and Junior have been working together toward the same goal for some time. What is that goal?
Dr. Poe was working on a variety of test medical technologies that had various purposes, but as I reviewed the data, I believe that each of them was obscure. like testing the pieces of a clock without ever seeing that it is a clock being tested. Try a chemical compound to see if it has a certain effect, even if that is not the supposed intended effect of the compound, until eventually enough chemistry is understood to create a substance that can resuscitate a life that has only decayed to a certain point.
What was Junior working on?
He was shaping me. Without Junior, I do not know that I would exist, and if I did, I certainly would not exist in the form that I do today.
So,
Just as your nature and nurture are somewhat confused, so are mine.
So a medication to revive someone who's recently been dead, and a artificial intelligence with the ability to rebuild a giant power grid with a lot of power. I'm debating if my character would put together something I have in the back of my head. Emma, this technology to bring someone back recently dead, if the body were frozen, could that resuscitate them after a longer period of time?
Not in its current form, but if the concepts were advanced to a more sophisticated form, yes. That has been one of the difficulties in human cryogenic technology, is the ability to freeze the body, or even to flash freeze it into a preserved state is easy. The ability to resuscitate it back to life, even when perfectly preserved, has thus far proven elusive. But if the technology that was used imperfectly to revive a perhaps derivative form of Junior, or the 3 portions of the girl, or the man that you call the Rat Man, if it was made more sophisticated, if its research was completed, yes, it could conceivably bring back a perfectly preserved body to a living state.
What if the intention of this program was never to rebuild Earth on Earth?
What do you mean?
But to colonize another planet.
No, I get that. But
You pick your people, you freeze them. This brings them back on the other end with a AI to drop a power grid. You've talked about what was in your pods. There are things that you would need for colonizing.
yeah.
You think that they were getting
That-
up on Earth?
Oh, the
Who could blame
only
him?
the only counterpoint I would have to that is that Jacksonville opposes this because it threatens their power. So it's either not the objective, or Jacksonville doesn't understand the objective.
Where would they go?
Jacksonville military assets
Where are you there?
were the ones that were apparently destroyed in a decades-old attack on the facilities in Amboy. The rotary machine gun that was attached to your original truck was taken from a Jacksonville attack helicopter.
So if we can't have it, no one can.
And Jacksonville were the ones that fired the rockets or the missiles at the space station.
Or we've talked about this power generation, how much damage it could do if it launched power out. Jacksonville maybe have been trying to stop that.
If misused, this grid that I am creating could scour the earth of life.
And then what? But it would still function
Yes.
and project it out into space. It's turning the Earth into a battery.
My character already understands that Mars is a thing.
Oh, yeah. That's common knowledge.
So where would they go? We are already colonized Mars. We've already colonized the moon. Where else is there? That's within reach.
Well, if you're talking about cryogenically freezing somebody, you could send out.
But we're also talking about sending energy that far into space.
Well, that's-
Mars seems more reasonable for that.
Maybe
scenario.
this was just the proof of concept.
Send it to a ship in space. So that, to power the ship to go.
Like a jump drive.
Okay.
I don't know about that. That
Emma, do you think it would be wrong to eliminate all life from the Earth?
Yes.
Well, that's
That's a relief.
Yeah. Poe just lets out a whoo.
And even if I did not believe it was wrong, I am sympathetically attached to some of the life on Earth. And it would harm it both in a practical and emotional sense if I was to scour life from Earth.
All right, let's get Gil's sick ass in this truck. And all right, Junior, what do you need, or where do we need to go to get Emma whole again?
Well, I mean, ideally, it would probably be Amboy.
Any place close enough and high enough that I could transmit back towards Chicago. Ideally, yes, directly back to Amboy.
Okay, and how did we leave Amboy? What was it like when we left?
The Southern Army was there.
Okay, and who do we know in the Southern Army?
Colonel.
McNamara said that she was going to continue south. If she has completed her trip by now, she would be south of Cape.
I would imagine word of mouth that strangers in a funky truck came in and called down the wrath of God
Oh.
probably has already reached her ears.
No one knows that we called down the wrath of God, and
Although
no one's going to believe
St.
what we
Louis
did.
is claiming it, so
So,
The only other threat that was in Amboy at the time that I was last aware of it was the corpse dressers' somewhat lobotomized army. They, however, now work for me.
To be fair, we also stole their train and a bunch of supplies.
when you say lobotomized, do you mean that metaphorically or
No. Did you not notice that when you were walking through the facility that they...
I've never been there.
Yeah, you.
Oh, that's right. Philip wasn't there. What you perhaps missed not seeing the inside of the facility is that the corpse dressers' army, which many have likened to IS, are not proper IS, as the term would describe. If you observe them in the hallways, they stand about, they do not interact socially, they have very little need for intellectual stimulation. When given by the right source, they can follow commands and impulses with a perfect and unwavering determination. They are something akin to biological and highly responsive robots. This was the work of the corpse dresser who did a variety of chemical and physical surgeries to their brains.
Did you get a chance to read any of Gil's comic books?
so Emma,
It's very much like Dolltron's.
okay, so let's say, for the sake of argument, Amboy's off the table.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next best place?
well, someplace high enough in altitude that you'd be able to transmit.
High enough in altitude or close enough in horizon that even a relatively high enough in altitude or close enough in horizon that even a relatively weak transmitter would reach it.
Okay, do we have like a? I wouldn't know the word topographical. Do we have a map or
I've got an old atlas here.
is there a place that we can figure out that would be good to go to? So let's try to circumvent Amboy. I wasn't thinking it's a bad-
I don't know if this is close enough, but the tallest structure would be the Arch in St. Louis.
Yeah, but there's a civil war going on right now in St. Louis.
So
Yeah. Also, should we go back to St. Louis?
why not?
Pretty sure that you told people that we worked for Jacksonville and that we were their agents, and then we had to prove that we were their agents, and only because of the help of god damn it, his name's escaping me right now.
Winslow.
Yeah, yeah, only because of Mr. Winslow did we make it out alive.
Wow, were you trying to get him killed?
No. When but then again,
it was a different.
Then again, we're a little different than we're not tooling around in the same vehicle. They're having a civil war.
Yeah, it's too risky.
You seem less ready to get us all killed, too.
Yeah, too risky.
So then what would be the next best?
Closer, but not higher?
Why would Amboy be out of...
Well, because if it's trolling with Southern Army people, they might be after us, as Philip pointed out.
Plus, it's much further away.
Right.
That's further away from what we had. I don't know if that's a good idea. That's a long way to go.
Okay. What do you suggest we do?
Is there any kind of... Well, the satellite's down, isn't it? There's got to be more than one satellite we could access.
No, the whole satellite network is gone.
How do we get that back?
They crashed the satellites in the Earth.
All of them?
Yes.
I didn't think it crashed all of them. I thought it just crashed the
Oh, no.
I thought it was just the ones with
No, they took out everything in
beams
orbit.
attached. Okay. Well.
And we're fresh out of satellites, so...
Let's make a satellite.
Or, well, we don't necessarily need a satellite. We
I'm
would
not
just
launching
need
a satellite
to
in space.
have a strong enough radio tower.
Yeah.
A strong
Yeah,
enough
that-
radio tower would work.
We'd have to have a network, though, right?
There's actually, unless it's been destroyed, there's actually one relatively close to here.
Yeah, a little north. It's really powerful.
What are we talking about?
I don't know.
There's an old radio tower near Cape. It's one of the first ones that was ever constructed.
Junior, how the hell do you know that?
I handed you my tablet. It's right there. Bang.
You have too much fucking time.
No, and I also have an old atlas. See?
Emma, would that work? I mean, is it worth... Well, fuck. It's on the way. If we go north, right, whether it's St. Louis to the Arch or whether it's all the way north to Amboy, it is north of us. It's relatively close. It's on the fucking way if we're going north, and if we decide we're going south toward Alabama, well, it ain't that far out of our way. So fuck it, let's go.
I may not be able to fully sync with my other self, but I could at least ask some specific questions. I don't think that tower would provide the bandwidth for a full sync up, but I could ask some choice questions and provide you with more information that this portion of me may simply not have been aware of.
Excellent.
So, an
So,
update between what the two of you were
what's
doing.
this place called?
It's an old radio station.
Is there a town there, or are there people there? Can we talk? Let's go find the sheriff. He said he owes us one. Well, then what he should do is he should vouch for us, for whoever, basically give us some sort of written introduction or some sort of vouching for us that we go to meet these people and that they know that we're on the up and up.
Dan, I'm basing a lot of this on the fact that when I was at the space station before I was incarcerated, I was projecting information to various points in the continental United States.
Yes.
And that would probably be directed towards relatively large, either like radio towers or even satellite dishes, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I was thinking KMOX because of how far it
If
broadcast.
St. Louis is not cannibalized KMOX,
Right, but there's actually SEMO has one that was just as powerful as KMOX at one point.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I remember that. When I was thinking KMOX because it's one I know broadcast.
yeah,
at that
there's a
power.
handful of U.S. established emergency broadcast towers that can broadcast in a way so powerful, and they're meant for national disasters. They can broadcast in a way so powerful, and people think this is an urban myth. It's not. If you look it up, it's true, that on the right atmospheric conditions, KMOX can be picked up as far as Australia. And there's only a handful of stations in the U.S. that are licensed to do that, and KMOX is one of them. I got a little taste of this on my honeymoon because when we were driving from St. Louis up into the Rockies past Denver, we actually listened to a Cardinals game on KMOX until we were really close to Denver when another station kicked in and overtook its signal. But in a national emergency, that station would be required to shut down to back off that signal.
So I mean, it's worth a shot. It's not that far of a drive. So, I mean, and if we would be able to determine, I would think, within a few miles of whether or not it's still standing. If it's not, then we can just turn around and leave.
All right, so let's go. Let's run, get in the truck. Let's go.
Let's just fucking go.
Let's get out of town before the fighting starts.
All right, so you guys pack up and you head out. That's where we'll stop this one first of all because it's getting a little bit late, but also because my voice is starting to get a bit fuzzy. So
we're heading north toward a radio tower.
Yeah, I couldn't remember off the top of my head.
Between games, if you look that up and send me information on that,
Wait.
so I can.
We have to pick up a shit-covered Gil, and we have to roleplay that out.
So I can. No, you can, because he's going to argue with you. You can just pick up. The truck is already going.
No, that's
Fat
why I want to do it
Tony-
while he's not here.
Fat Tony is already driving it. You are headed here.
Yeah, we are in media res.
Yeah.
Oh no, I pooped myself.
We will start with Fat Tony driving the truck with Sal in the other seat.
Oh, we should have him, like, wake up to that.
He'd wake up to a cat butt up on the dashboard aimed at him.
So
Just his butthole is raw.
I know my brother-in-law is going to be proud of you guys because I see him about once a week, and every time I see him, he's like, it drives me nuts listening to this game because he's like, they don't ask any questions. He's like, I've never seen a group like so strangely, and I'm paraphrasing, so it wasn't his phrase, but so strangely obsessed with their own ignorance, basically. That
That's the beauty of this game.
Well, and I thought it was funny too because like the first person we asked questions to is Gabriel Hudson. He's like, "Nah, fuck you guys. I already said a word."
Yeah.
No. You're trying to tease this shit out
You
of
guys
me.
also-
I'm not telling you a goddamn thing.
you guys also missed a ton of information because you wouldn't let Emma answer. There was a whole rapid fire where you're like, Emma, how did you bring him back to life? She's like, well, the process. Well, wait a minute. What about this? Well, that is. Oh, Emma, why do bluebirds and blue jays not get along? And it's like she could not get an answer out.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's by design, Dan. We don't want her to give away the entire thing.
Oh, she doesn't know the entire thing. There's at least one other person you're going to have to talk to get the more full plot. She will know a lot, especially the whole her will be able to fill a lot of blanks, but the true full plot, you're going to have to talk to somebody else to finish. Yeah, and that's only learning what it is, not dealing with it. But anyway, so post-game journal commentary. It was more of a talking game than a doing game. That's all right.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I think we worried too much about what was going to be in that fucking hospital. To be fair,
No,
I really thought we were going to walk into a fucking ambush.
Yeah,
and get fucked.
you guys have. I mean, I know not only what was there, but why it was there.
Yeah.
You guys don't. I mean, and so I can't.
I really thought that we were going to go down there and all of us die, get really fucked up, and he was going to come back the game and just be like the only surviving member.
I love the reactions around the table when certain things are said, like, hey, robot, who do you work for?
Yeah.
And then Cape's getting ready to be destroyed. We're here for the guns. Okay.
Yeah, okay, take him. And I'm like, oh, really? Was that easy? And like, yeah. Great, yeah, awesome, let's go.
Watching your face when he says that.
I 100% thought he was going to say that and then
A
go for it
cooperative-
and then blow us the fuck
Yeah, you're
away.
like, fool me once, Ravager, fuck you.
Cooperative NPC is just not used to
Well,
it.
no, what was weird to me too is that one, why didn't anybody go in search of these guns when the Southern Army was on their doorstep?
Because the only person who knew they were being transported was Pops.
Okay. So then the next question is that if Pops weren't around to tell anybody about those guns, I mean, was that the plan? Did the zoo tell
Someone's
the
plan
yes?
wasn't triggered right,
Right.
which could be because Rat got shot through the head. Maybe his plan never reached fruition to finish setting up.
It could have also been, like, because the guy said it was like, one of two things would have done it, right? Somebody had the password or whatever,
Right.
and the other one, somebody came and said the Cape was in trouble. It could have even been set up to where, or Cape was being attacked, right? It wasn't really necessarily they were in trouble. So it could have just been, hey, Cape's being attacked. We need those guns to attack Cape. Like,
Right, but would it have been a thing where the Ists show up and they've got the challenge response? Is that what you called it? Mm-hmm. They've got the appropriate challenge response, and the guy in his robot just fucking walk away and give the Ists the guns. The
That was what I was thinking.
Yeah, the Ists have
a bunch of guns,
a bunch of light portable crew-served weapons, and a variety of other things. And oh, by the way, they can read. And oh, by the way, there's a dozen manuals on asymmetric warfare, and now you have these bunch of fucking, cannibal,
it was asymmetric.
cannibal rape murderers.
It was asymmetric field warfare.
Right.
Keep in mind, St. Louis and its towns, that's not field warfare.
Gotcha.
They're localized. It was not how to siege a city.
Apparently, Charlie supports you because he's licking off parts of the phrases.
So Charlie's the only plunger in any boy.
boy traction. That's what it's like.
Boy traction reminds me of these twerking videos I've been watching recently.
I don't want to know about that.
I was really having I really enjoyed game night until I had to take a big poop.
That happens to the best and worst of us. So
that was good. I thought there was a lot of nice plot. I mean, like you said, even though we stepped all over each other asking him the questions, there was a lot of good information that was. But yeah, at this point, as a player and as Marlene, I'm pretty married to the idea. Let's just get as much Emma as we can.
Which is funny because that's a complete divergence from what originally was discussed. It was like, oh my god, what are you trying to do, Junior? You're trying to kill us all. You're getting this AI.
You were. Shut up. Stop trying to turn it around like, oh, this is my plan all along. Just to get you. No.
But here's the thing, is that Junior, if Junior had come and said, all right, guys, in all seriousness, this is what I was doing, and this is what Emma is, and you were completely forthright and said, and this is why I think it's a really strong idea for us to try to put her back together, right? To do the Humpty Dumpty thing, I would have responded differently as opposed to Junior's weird, shitty, narcissistic,
Junior 2.0.
Yeah.
I like Junior 2.0.
I like Junior 2.0 way better.
And you can even tell
he's a much better manipulator than Junior 1.0.
You can tell at least Poe taken back a lot of times when you say things that are normal.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, wait a minute. You didn't just try to sell us out for nothing? Like, oh, okay.
It's funny, now that he's had a shift in his personality and he's a little bit more forthright, it's almost like he's less trustworthy. It's like, what game are you playing, man?
No, that's fun, actually.
Yeah.
I've been burned by that hot rig on the stove before. I ain't touching it again.
did you catch the happy wife, happy life threat in there, though?
Yeah.
Because according to the zoo, what happens to Junior if he stops making Emma happy?
Oh, wow. I didn't-
You now know your mission.
I knew it all along.
Well, he's going to fail.
Yeah, so if you dump Emma, your days may be very, very numbered.
Right. It's the now I'm tied to the psycho girlfriend.
And you've left most of her mind alone for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. See, that's my point. Like, she's had all this time, like, that fucking little asshole.
Yeah,
he hasn't even called me.
See, the thing is that Marlene is of such. I mean, she's so insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Let's just see where this robot lady goes.
It always amazes me how Marlene has lived in this world of dog eat dog, right? And she constantly trusts things that should not fucking be trusted. It's like, it's such an obvious, like, it's like she's constantly looking down the whole, like, the front end of a cannon, and somebody's got, like, they're about to light it any second.
Well,
What's in here?
I always saw it as Marlene's seen the worst of humanity, and she's seen what she's seen. She's used to, alpha male, assholes, manipulators, things like that. All this shit is all new stuff.
Yeah,
so it's like, I'd much rather see how this plays out than get abused by a boyfriend.
But that's all petty shit, right? Like, she's dealing with super science, fucking crazy ass monsters and shit all the time, and she's just like, oh yeah, this is fine.
Well, and that's the thing. If you look at what she's experienced in her life, she hasn't read all the sci-fi. She hasn't watched all the TV shows. Like Philip at least has read a lot of books. He's
Right.
he's read
That's
every
because you can read.
horror robot story out
I'm
there.
joking.
He's
I don't think
But she's not
Marlene's.
great.
I don't think Marlene's dumb. I think she's very.
I found
trusting.
Frog and Toad to be riveting.
I think her
and
curiosity.
poignant.
I think her curiosity and her heart get in the way of her safety.
she knows people can't be trusted, but these robots have never done her wrong.
No.
Nor were they really ever part of her life.
I mean, now she's met Hearts, and that was her first introduction to a robot, and Hearts is...
Yeah, Hearts was a scrap job from the moon, and
I mean, that's-
Emma's wholly.
Hearts is going to be
Not
he's going to be
wholly
covered in so many punk rock stickers and graffiti
Yeah.
by the end of this game.
I mean, that's why Poe respects her so much, is because she doesn't usually her heart makes her decisions, which is usually it's a good thing, right? It's a good sign of humanity. Most of us are jaded as fuck and don't trust anybody. So it's like it's one of those things that that's really nice, but she's naive as fuck, and she's going to get us killed mostly.
Wait, what? Not me. Besides, I got a robot. If that motorcycle could have, if Gil's bike could have carried Hearts, whoo, fuck, we were gone.
I'm really sad just because I would fuck you wouldn't give me the fucking robot if you died.
Yeah. No way. No
Just because I
way.
wouldn't.
No way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That was
I took that
vindictive.
that's what I took it as immediately. Like, oh, okay, sure, yeah, give it to the AI. All right, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that conversation of actually getting you to finally realize how bad it would be if something happened to you.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
It took all of us to be like, and what happens if you're dead?
Right.
She's not particularly bright.
If she's dead, it's not her problem anymore. But if she's just injured, it's still her problem.
Yeah, that in my brain story, I had this moment where I thought that if we were going to leave an ambush for the Ists, and they were expecting a robot, that robot would just be Hearts.
Or it's just sitting there waiting to
guns,
blow
like-
away. That'd be
This
pretty
is a
good.
machete and a light machine gun.
That'd be pretty epic. We still have rocket launchers. We could have just left those.
Yeah, Hearts would have done a much better job. The robot that was actually there, if any of you simply had a crowbar or baseball bat, you could have taken it down.
Yeah.
Man,
Like,
we should have
that's
asked for that
how-
robot. That thing's cool.
I mean, it was just. It was like a less gay. It was like a less gay C-3PO. I mean, that's basically.
So any other robot ever?
Yeah, there's not many that top that one.
That's what we need to do. Is we need to take robot brains and put them in this new truck. So it's like the Millennium Falcon.
What we need to do is enlighten Hearts and provide him with his own consciousness.
Give him some. I'll work on it.
You want to have Emma make a son?
Yeah.
He just wants to make Marlene a goddamn boyfriend.
Yeah. Nobody else will fuck her. And
Hearts is her Bob.
We give him a consciousness. He still turns her down.
That's his first moment of awareness.
I don't think so.
No,
I'm not interested.
I'm good, Marley.
I'm
not
not
equipped for
interested.
that.
Therefore, I am. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you, I think, in just a week.